Will the best program in the Pac-12 be the best team in 2019? Mark Rogers TV with preseason position previews. Next. Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, breaking down the Washington Huskies. The best way we know how to do that is to bring on Chris Fetters from Dogman 247 Sports. We encourage you to help us join, build the channel by grabbing the Amazon link in the description section below. Don't have to buy the product. Doesn't cost you an extra penny. Just go onto Amazon, do your regular shopping using that link. And we've got 2 exclusive live streams each and every week where we respond to your viewer comments. 36,000 year to date compared to 6,000 at this point last year. So thank you for the comments. We respond to those on Patreon. So look it up at Mark Rogers TV on Patreon. All right, Chris, looking at the offensive line, regardless of who wins the quarterback spot, they should be well protected. The offensive skill position players as a whole should have plenty of space. This may turn out to be one of the very best units in college football this year.
I think so. I mean, obviously the loss of Trey Adams at the end of the 2017 season was really, really tough, but it was a blessing in disguise now because Trey played only 4 games in 2018, the final 4 games of the season. So that allowed him to redshirt, and now he comes in as a 5th-year guy, arguably one of the best tackles in all of college football. I know there's a guy or two at Oregon that might have something to say about that, but Adams is one of those guys that when you talk about a left tackle with a right-handed quarterback, got to protect the blind side, and having a 5th-year guy with that much experience is huge. And then you also talk about the other guy that has the most experience. You're talking about a guy that has, a situation like in Nick Harris where, he's as experienced as Trey Adams, and he's the center. So he's like the quarterback of the offense. And, it's just a situation where you have those 2 guys with that much experience. And, it's just it's a good way to start. They lose the right tackle and Caleb McGarry to Atlanta in the first round of the draft, but they bring in a guy like Jared Hilbers, who started like the first 8-9 games of the season last year at left tackle for Trey Adams. Now all of a sudden you've got a guy with that much experience. He can move over to right tackle. And so then you've got that position covered up. You've got Jackson Kirkland at right guard, who basically started all of last year as a redshirt freshman. So now he comes in with a bunch of experience. And then Luke Wattenberg at left guard basically played all of last year at that position. So you've got guys with tons of starting experience across that starting 5. But then you've got a situation where what about the guys behind them? You've got some seniors, guys like Henry Roberts that can do some things. You've got some talented kids in Henry Bainavalu. You've got Cole Norgard at center who can back up Nick Harris. He needs to get a little bit of experience as well. But then you got some of these young guys moving through the ranks. You got Mateo Mele at left tackle. You got MJ Ale at left guard. You got Vic Kern at right guard coming through, these redshirt freshmen and sophomores. So they're really loaded in terms of the depth and talent, but that depth hasn't really been tested too much. But again, I think most college football teams will tell you, depth is there, and they need to use it every once in a while. But that starting 5, it has to be there, and they have to be the ones that kind of lead the charge in the trenches. And I think Washington's got as good an offensive line right now as any in the Pac-12.
Absolutely. Technically 4 starters back, but as you mentioned, Trey Adams coming off a missed 2018 due to his back injury. But with all those starts, 32 starts under his belt, and from the time he stepped on campus, was one of the better offensive linemen in the Pac-12 and then the country, despite some of his injury issues in recent years. It should be an exceptional unit, but again, the depth might be a concern in regards to the drop-off after the first 5.